Hey, what's going on, everybody? Woo! Happy Monday, baby. Yeah. Triple M Day, Money Making Monday. Hope everybody had a great week, a great weekend, and everybody's ready to kick their week off the right way, man. Let's get it going. Drop in the chat, man, where you chiming in from, what city, what state, where you coming in from. You're in your place of business, you're in your house, you're in your car, your basement, wherever you're at, man. Drop it in the chat. Show some love. Let us know where you coming in from, y'all. Where's everybody chiming in from, man? I see the BX in the house. All right, all right. Let's go, man. Drop in the chat where you coming in from, what city, what state, and whether your place of business. Where you at right now? What are you doing, man? What's going on? Show some love in the chat, man. Um, look, man. Let's get right into this, man. If you showed up tonight, I already know one thing about y'all. You've been through some shit, man, and you've been killing it on paper. You might be that go-to person that everybody else leans on, but deep down inside, you know that there's another level inside of you that's been asleep. And today, we're going to motivate that level. We're not going to just motivate it, though. We're going to reignite it. Because this workshop, it's not about learning how to chase success. It's about remembering how to wear your crown. So before we dive in, let me ask you a real question. How many people here have faced real adversity? I'm talking real adversity, not the kind that just throws your schedule off. I'm talking about the kind that flips your whole world upside down. For some of you, maybe it was losing a loved one. Maybe it was addiction, losing your business, bankruptcy, going to jail, or maybe it was that silent breakdown that nobody ever saw coming because you wore that mask so well. You ever have a moment where you look in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back at you? Not because you fell off, but because somewhere along the line, you got lost trying to hold it all together. I know that moment all too well because I went from Park Avenue to Park Bench. But that rock bottom life, that wasn't for Joe Rivera. Because I had to scratch and claw my way back up to the top. So today, I'm going to talk to you about the comeback game. Because in this world that we're living in, especially in this time, in this business, you're looking to take to the next level, in this life, where you're looking to unlock your fullest potential, you're going to face adversity along the way. And you're going to have to create your own comeback game. So I'm about to pour into y'all for a minute and drop some fire in the chat if you've ever been through something in your life that tried to break you, but ended up building you up. Let me see some fire in the chat, man. I was emotionally, financially, and spiritually bankrupt. I lost everything. I even almost lost my life. I had my dream job in the financial industry as a stockbroker. Early 2000s, I'm 25 years old, making 7 figures a year. I should feel like I'm on top of the world at this point. But 7 figures a year? Nah, that ain't good enough. Because I live in a world with a belief system of never enough. I want more. I want 8 figures or 9 figures. I'm chasing that fast life. And at this point in my life, being spiritually bankrupt, money's the only higher power that I know. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make more money. I'm putting in late nights at the office one evening, and this dude, we call him Johnny Connect. We call him that because he had the connections to get his hands on anything you can imagine. Keep in mind, we're in New York, So this dude swears that he's part of the mafia. He sits down at my desk and he says, "Hey, Joe, you think you're a top producer now? Take this little round pill and forget about it. You're going to produce even more." Wall Street is also known as Drug Street, and everybody's doing some kind of drug. I'm already smoking weed, drinking, or having some kind of mind altering substance in my body every single day for the past 15 years at this point. So I said, fuck it, why not? And that's when I got introduced to opiates. And that's when my battle with substance abuse took off to the next level. My life goes dark and becomes completely unmanageable. I'm risking my life every single day. I overdosed twice. The last time, it took 6 cans of Narcan to bring me back to life. 6 fucking cans of Narcan. That same night, I'm laying in the hospital bed. I wake up. I pull the EKG electrodes off my body. Leave the hospital against medical advice. And then when I get outside, it's the middle of winter. I'm in a hospital gown and I'm shivering, looking like a crackhead, like Pookie from New Jack City, because of all the opiates that were being taken out of my system. And the first thing that I do, I go call the dealer again to go get high. Then came a weekend that changed my life forever. My sister invited me for a self-help event. I had no intentions on going to some motivation event to hear some rah-rah bullshit. That was the last thing on my mind. But something inside of me pulled me to go. And at that event, I don't remember exactly what it was, but something cracked open. I looked at my sister. She looked at me. And we both started crying. She knew exactly what I was going to say. And then the words came out. The words that my family was waiting to hear for over a decade. I said, I don't want to do this anymore, sis. I'm a shell of my true self. I'm tired of writing my obituary. I want to begin creating my legacy again. After that, I made the most important decision of my life to go get sober. My story is not unique. Many people struggle with vices. Mine was drugs and alcohol. Someone else might be gambling, sex, shopping, overeating, whatever that vice is. It interferes with us being our true self by having us isolate, not being fully present. It creates character defects. For some, life may become unmanageable. They may lack direction. Some people lose motivation in their self-esteem. I promise you, you don't have to live like that. There's a better way to live life. And I'm living proof. Because when you find and live in your purpose, that's when the real comeback begins. But it ain't an overnight success. It took me nearly a decade to regain control over the steering wheel in my life. Over the years, I've hired a lot of coaches and I've done a lot of self-help programs. Some have helped, some have not worked. However, I've put together some powerful strategies that have helped me build the foundation to create my own destiny. I believe finding and living in your purpose is the ultimate comeback code. It transforms spiritual alignment into unstoppable success. I used to live an unmanageable life where I lacked direction, didn't finish things that I started. I couldn't get out of my own way. Today, I live an incredible life where I know the direction I'm going, I know what my goals are, and when I start something, I finish it. And I shatter those goals because I built a reliable, repeatable, and transformational system which has helped me create wealth financially, emotionally, and spiritually. I don't want you to just be inspired by my story today. I want you to be transformed by what comes next. So over the next hour and change, I'm going to give you 5 codes that rebuilt my life from the ashes to abundance. Now, these aren't motivational quotes. These are the same tools that I use to command my mind, rebuild my wealth, and repair my relationships, and also, most importantly, reconnect with my creator. So if you're ready, write this down. It's the 5 codes of the comeback, y'all. And take a second and write down, what's your moment where you were writing your own obituary moment? Doesn't have to be in the same context, but something that resonates with you there. That line that shifted your soul. Drop the one word in the chat that represents your turning point. We all got one, yeah. This is a safe space, yeah. Vulnerability is a superpower. So the first code is forged through fire. Adversity isn't punishment; it's preparation. This is where you get to face the pain, break the denial, and let the fire refine who you are and who you're meant to be instead of destroy you. The second code, command the kingdom. Self-leadership is kingdom leadership. Mastering health, family, business, mindset, building structure, building those standards and systems that align with divine order. Number 3, you got to protect the gate. What you allow, you endorse. Boundaries, energy, relationships, environment, focus. It's how to guard your peace and protect power. The 4th one, crown with conviction. Even kings bow before the king. Faith, spiritual alignment, and purpose-driven execution. How to lead with surrender and divine certainty. And the 5th one is build that empire. Because legacy is the reward of alignment. Turning that inner work into outer impact, wealth, mission, influence, and generational change. Everybody wants the crown, but almost nobody wants the heat that shapes it. If everybody could wear the crown, everybody would be wearing it. It'd be a perfect world, but that shit ain't realistic. It takes work. If you're chosen, your creator's gonna make you work for it, man. So let's get this right from the jump, y'all. Every real comeback starts the same way. Not with clarity, not with confidence, but with fire. So let's start with that first code, which is forge the fire, because people think that fire comes to destroy them. But the truth, fire doesn't come to burn you down. It comes to burn away the version of you that can't carry the crown. That old version that's got to die in order for the new one to come into place. The truth is, the fire is where you find out what you're made of. When I got clean and sober, I thought I'd escape the heat. But that's not how this works. The heat doesn't disappear. It changes form. Now it shows up as responsibility, as calling, as conviction. Because the comeback, it ain't one big decision. It's 1,000 little ones made every single day while you're sweating in the forge. I'll never forget when I was on my way to rehab, I told my sister if we could stop at the Starbucks so I could use the bathroom. But when I got into that Starbucks bathroom, I had no intentions on doing a number 1 and number 2. All I really wanted was to get high one last time before rehab. I'm in that bathroom stall with a needle in my hand, and I'm ready to shoot cocaine and heroin into my arm. I'm not thinking about the fact that my sister might be stuck outside waiting. I'm not thinking about the fact that my kids might never see their father again. I'm not thinking about the fact that I'm risking my life. Now, all I'm thinking about is myself. How selfish. And right then and there, in that moment, in that kind of silence, my hand shaking, that's where you could hear that heartbeat in your ears. And right there, needle in my hand, I heard the whisper. If you do this, you might not come back. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was just real. I dropped to my knees and I started crying because a part of me wanted to live. But the other part, the one that was addicted to the chaos, that's the one that still had control. And yeah, I still got high that night because that's how the mask works. It doesn't fall off all at once. It melts a layer at a time. And the next morning, I looked in that mirror and I barely recognized the man staring back at me. The guy with the fresh fade, the gold watch, the charm, he was gone. All that was left was that scared kid trying to survive his own thoughts. And that's when I learned something that changed my life. The fire doesn't expose your weakness. It reveals your truth. If you keep running from the fire, you'll find the part of you that was born to walk through it. You see, most people want the victory without the forge. They want success without pressure. That shit ain't realistic. Because if you don't let the fire refine you, it'll just recycle you. Every time you avoid the pain, you restart the same cycle in a new season. And here's what I need you to write down. I'm not running away from the fire anymore. I'm learning to walk in it. Because the fire, that's where character gets hammered out. You don't rise by escaping it. You rise by mastering it. Repetition is the mother of skill, y'all. You don't become unbreakable by praying for easier battles. You become unbreakable by training your mind to hold its form under pressure. So ask yourself right now, what's the fire you've been avoiding this year? Is it that conversation that you need to have? That truth that you need to tell? The habit you need to kill? The version of you that's been protecting even though that you know it's time to let it die. Write that down. Don't overthink it. Because the thing you're scared to face is the very thing keeping your power locked away. When blacksmiths forge a blade, they heat it until it glows. They let it hammer. And then they cool it and heat it again. And every strike that happens brings the metal closer to its final form. That's the reforge. That's how your life is doing right now. That job loss, the relationship that fell apart, the failures that made you question your worth, none of those moments came to destroy you. They came to shape who you are. And that's why this code matters. Because when you forge through fire, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, how is this happening for me? What is this heat trying to build in me? Because pain without purpose, that's just suffering. But pain with perspective, that's where the transformation's at, y'all. The fire doesn't come to burn you down. It comes to burn away the version of you that can't carry the crown. Drop a fire in the chat if you feel me on that, man. Yeah, I see. Now let's slow this down for a minute. Grab up your notebook, your journal, whatever you got to write down, piece of paper, napkin, wherever you put your notes on, man. And write this down. What's one fire that you've been avoiding? And what's it already costing you in energy, peace, progress? And then ask yourself, I write this down, how could you become if you stopped running from it? And who could you become? Take 30 seconds and sit in that. I'll repeat those one more time. What's one fire that you've been avoiding? And what's it already costing you in your energy, your peace, your progress? And who could you become if you stopped running it? Imagine how unstoppable you could be. Imagine the goals that you could accomplish. And look at those answers. That's your forge. That's where the transformation begins. That's your place that your higher power, whether you call it God, the universe, the infinite intelligence, whatever you believe, that's where you have the place that that higher source has been trying to meet you at. And that's the place that you've been praying for it to disappear. Because that's where the strength is. And realize, you know, God, source, universe, whatever it is you believe, right? That same force has been using this fire to build you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Because I believe that sometimes God breaks you down in order to rebuild you back up and build you stronger than ever. It's been burning out your ego, testing your faith, strengthening your spirit. That's what this season's for. When I got out of rehab, I thought I was, the fire was over, but it just shifted. Now the fire was staying clean. It was rebuilding my business. It was learning to be present with my kids. It was facing my emotions without numbing them. And that's when I realized something powerful. Your breakthrough isn't built in comfort. It's forged in the fire. If you could stay in the heat without losing your identity, you'll walk out refined, not reduced. Because pressure doesn't break you. It just shows you what's weak. And what's weak can always be forged. So tonight, I want you to make this declaration. I will not let fear control me. I will not fear the fire. I will use it. And say it again. I will not let fear control me. I will not fear the fire. I'll use it. Use it towards my advantage. And say it again over and over and over again to yourself. Because fear can stand for two things, right? It can be fuck everything and run, or face everything and reforge. Which one are you going to have? Because that fire, the one that tried to destroy you, is about to become the evidence that you were built for more in your life. So today,
and run.
Fuck everything and run, and face everything and reforge. So today, I want you to make this declaration with me and just say that you're not going to fear the fire and you're going to use it towards your advantage. Let your body feel it, because the fire that tried to destroy you, that's the one right there, man. It's going to show you that you were built for a lot more in your life, y'all. You were created for more. And it's your duty as a spiritual being living a human experience to go out there and live in that purpose. Live what you were created for. Type built for me in the chat if you feel this in your chest, man. Type built for me, because you were built for it. It was built for you. Your path is created. It's your job to go follow that path. So now that we face the fire, it's time to talk about what you do after the smoke clears. Because surviving the fire, surviving the heat, it's not the end of the story. You still have to take command of what's left, the ashes, the opportunities, the next season in your life. That's where the code comes in. This next code is command the kingdom. So what are you going to do when that smoke clears? Because surviving isn't the same as reigning. You can't just crawl out of the ashes and call that a comeback. It's not how it works. You got to command what's left. So when I say kingdom, I'm talking about your life, your time, your health, your family, your money, your purpose, all of it. You're either commanding your kingdom or you're being commanded by chaos. There's no middle ground, y'all. There's no in between. It's one or the other. Which one are you going to choose? Drop the word command in the chat if you're ready to stop letting chaos call the shots and you're ready to start commanding your own kingdom. Drop the word command in the chat. I see y'all, man. When I achieved sobriety, I had to start my life and my business from ground zero. I had nothing but a vision in my head and a fire in my gut. I knew that one of my targets was getting back to making 7 figures annually. However, just putting 7 figures on a sticky note, praying for God to put 7 figures in my account, and then boom, looking at my account, and all of a sudden I was a multi-millionaire, that shit ain't realistic, man. God don't reward wishful thinking. He rewards aligned action. Teamwork makes the dream work, man. But I knew that I had to get painfully clear on my numbers. So I had to move first. How many contacts I had to make each day, how many clients I had to close each week, how much revenue I needed to stack every single month. And that's what a real action plan looks like. Not a vision board alone, but measurable moves, daily non-negotiables, and relentless accountability. But even with all that, I still found myself falling just shy of my goal. And that's when I realized I didn't have an accountability problem. I had a self-leadership problem. So I took another uncomfortable step. I invested into a coach. First coach I hired, complete mismatch. Synergy was gone, connection wasn't there, 10 grand down the drain. I could have easily said, you know what, this coaching shit ain't for me. I'm going to just settle where I'm at. But settling? Nah, that ain't in my DNA. I didn't survive 2 overdoses, 6 cans of Narcan, and rebuild my life just to coast through a second chance. So I kept going. I searched until I found the right coach, one who wasn't afraid to call me out on my bullshit, one who challenged me to move out of my comfort zone, and one who pushed me to move like the man that I claimed I wanted to become. And once I found that alignment, my results didn't just improve, they exploded. My income doubled, then tripled. I haven't done less than 7 figures since, or for that matter, I continue to expand, not just financially, but in impact and influence as well. Because commanding your kingdom, it doesn't start with a business plan. It starts with you. If you can't lead yourself, you'll lose everything that you built. You can't command what you haven't defined. Most people are trying to get their life together, but they haven't decided what their kingdom actually includes. So let's define that right now. There's 4 domains that you've been called to rule. It's your health, your relationships and family, your business and finances, your mind and personal growth. And all that runs under one crown, your spiritual alignment. We're going to hit on that a little bit later. It's called the crown with conviction. But if one of those domains collapses, the rest, they eventually follow. And that's why kings and queens can't neglect the walls of their own castle. Which domain do you feel strongest in right now? Drop the number 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat, y'all. Drop them in the chat, y'all. I see ya. Yeah, keep it at 100, man. Keep it at 100. It's important. Can't be real with yourself. You can't be real with the rest of the world, y'all. So let's start with health. When I was deep in addiction, I didn't even understand how sacred energy really is. You can't lead with low energy. You can't build an empire on fumes. It's impossible. So I made my health the first throne to reclaim. I started treating my workouts like board meetings, non-negotiable, scheduled, protected. Because if the body breaks down, the vision slows down. Write this down. My energy is my equity. Yeah, man, your energy's your equity, y'all. You can't cash big checks with small habits. You want more focus? Start with eliminating noise in your life. You want more clarity? Start one clear outcome. You want more confidence? Start keeping the promises you make to your body. Every rep, every run, every time you choose water over whiskey, that's you commanding your temple. And write this down in your notes, y'all. My energy is my equity. And then type a fire in the chat when you lock that in, because that's so important, man. Your energy is everything. That's your equity in your life. The next one we're going to build on is family. Because what good is success if you lose your family while you're chasing it? When I got sober, I realized I've been a provider, but not a presence. My daughter didn't need a superhero. She needed her father sober, grounded, and there for her. Commanding your kingdom means you show up where it matters. Put the phone down at dinner. Look people in the eye. Give your kids, your partner, your parents, your business partner your full attention. Presence is power. And if you're always chasing that next win, you'll miss the moments that make life worth winning for. Guess what, man? The magic isn't in the destiny. The destiny is just the end result. The magic is in the journey. That's where the magic happens. So enjoy those moments. Stay present in those moments. Take a deep breath and think to yourself, who in your life right now needs you to be more present? We all got somebody. Drop their initials in the chat as your silent commitment tonight. Just the initials of what that commitment is, who you're going to be present for tonight. For some of you, maybe it's your husband, your wife. Maybe it's your kids. Maybe it's a friend that you haven't really connected with in a while and that you're always too busy for. Maybe it's a sibling. Drop the initial in the chat just to remind yourself. And let's talk about business and money. A lot of people pray for provision, but they ignore the principles that produce it. That same higher power that gives you vision also expects you to build the system. Focus, faith without focus is just fantasy. You want to command your business? Then you know what? You better know your numbers, your revenue, your expenses, your pipeline, your cash flow. That's royal responsibility. Money doesn't answer emotion, it answers management. You got to treat your business like it's a ministry, something you steward, not something you just squeeze. And here's what I tell all my clients. Don't measure success just by what you make. Measure it by what you maintain. Because wealth without wisdom, it's just another fast track to collapse, y'all. So command your business, command your money. Every dollar is a soldier. If you don't give it a mission, it'll find one. And usually, it'll be against you. The next domain is one of my favorites, man. I love them all, but the mind, man, our mind and personal growth. Our mind is the most powerful tool that we were blessed with, y'all. You can't lead others if you're constantly losing arguments to your own thoughts. Your thoughts become your feelings, those feelings become emotions, those emotions become your reaction, and that reaction becomes your results. Your thoughts are so powerful. I start every morning in silence. No phone, no noise, just me connecting with God. I mean, I started off with like a minute to 3 minutes of gratitude when I first got sober. And now today, I mean, there's days where it goes 45 minutes to an hour because I got so much to be thankful for. But those moments, that morning, Routine is sacred. Before I could go take on the day, before I could go answer emails, look at my phone, I gotta take care of my spirit and my mind. And then I go take care of my body. And then I could go take care of the rest of the world and pour into the world. Because if I don't pour into myself, how am I going to pour into everybody out there? Whatever name you give it out there, God, the universe, the bottom line is that source deserves that moment with you. It deserves sacred time. That's stillness. That's where strategy downloads happen, yeah? Because if you're too busy to be still, you're too busy to be led. And most people treat personal growth like a hobby. We treat it like survival. Books, coaches, mentors, events, that's not optional. That's how you sharpen the sword before battle. Every time you learn something new, you expand your borders to your kingdom. And every time you ignore your growth, you shrink those. So you growing or you shrinking? Let's do a quick audit right now. Write down these 4 words: health, family, business, mind. And next to each one, rate yourself and be honest. Nobody's seeing this but you. It's only about you and yourself. Rate yourself from a 1 to 10 on how much command you have in that area. Write it down to all 4 of them. Where are you strong? Where are you slipping? And which area needs your immediate attention this week? Not someday, but today. Because commanding your kingdom, it's not about perfection. It's about awareness. And once you see the cracks, you could start reinforcing the walls. All right, here's what we're going to do, y'all. We're going to jump into a quick breakout, 3 minutes, and we're going to take this deeper. I'm going to send you into the breakout rooms. And here's the question: what's one area of your kingdom that needs the most command right now? And what's one step that you'll take this week to strengthen that? I'm going to repeat the question. What's one area of your kingdom that needs the most command right now in your life? And what's one small step that you could take to strengthen that? It's all about strengthening your weaknesses, y'all. And if one of your weaknesses is that you don't like to collab with other people, guess what? This is a room for growth. Don't disappear when the breakout comes on. Jump in the breakout, get to know each other, and share. Be a little vulnerable. Remember, vulnerability is a superpower. We'll be back in every person's going to have about 60 to 90 seconds. Be raw, no filters, and I'll see y'all in 3 minutes. Michelle, send them into a breakout. So now once you start commanding your kingdom, not everybody's going to clap for you, y'all. Don't wait around for people to clap. Some people are used to the old version of you, the one that they could drain, distract, or depend on. And when they see you moving different, they'll test your gates. And that's why the next code is critical, y'all. You faced the fire. You've taken back command, and now it's time to protect what you built. You got to protect the gate, man. So here's the thing. What you allow, you endorse. And if you don't protect the gates, your peace, your focus, your faith, you'll start leaking power, one conversation, one compromise at a time. Every kingdom has walls, but walls aren't built to isolate. They're built to preserve what's sacred. The gate isn't about keeping people out. It's about deciding what gets in. There's 5 gates every high performer needs to protect. You got the mind gate, what thoughts and beliefs you let rule your head. You got the heart gate, who you allow to affect your emotions. You got the spirit gate, what you connect to for peace, faith, and clarity. You got the environment gate, where you spend your time and what energy fills your space. And then you got the circle gate, the people who walk with you in battle and build beside you in peace. Every time you say yes to something unaligned, you start weakening one of those gates. And if you don't guard them, somebody else is going to claim the throne that you were meant to protect. Drop in the chat right now, which gate has been the hardest for you to protect lately? Your mind, your heart, your environment, your circle, or maybe it's your spirit. Drop it in the chat. Which one's been the hardest for you to be able to protect lately? Everybody goes through different seasons in life. Everybody goes through different gates where they're having trouble protecting. Yeah, man. Yeah. I hear ya. Spirit, heart. I see ya. The mind. Yeah. Be honest, man. Be honest with yourself. I love it. Love the honesty. Love the vulnerability in the room, man. The first gate is your mind. Every lie the enemy ever told you, it started here. I'm not enough. It's too late. I'm broken. That's how the invasion starts. Not with an army, but with a whisper. You got to recognize when your thoughts show up, the ones that show up when they don't belong to the new version of you. When fear knocks, answer with faith. When doubt creeps in, drown it. Drown it with discipline. And remember, with fear and faith, it can be looked at very similar, right? Something you can't touch, you can't feel, but you know it exists. The big difference is fear will lock you into survival mode. Faith creates legacies. Fear will build a prison around you. Faith builds empires. Write this down, yeah. If I don't command my thoughts, they will command my destiny. Protect the mind gate like your legacy depends on it, because it does. And then you got the heart gate. I've seen some of y'all put heart in the chat, and this is guarding your peace. That's your emotional ecosystem. It's where resentment grows when forgiveness is withheld. It's where bitterness breeds when gratitude dies. When I was deep in addiction, I thought my heart didn't matter. I numbed it just to survive. But numbing pain, it also numbs potential. Protecting the heart gate means learning emotional discipline. You could love people and still enforce boundaries. You could forgive and still not reinvite chaos. You could be kind without being convenient. Peace isn't passive. It's a position. And when your heart is guarded, your decisions become grounded. So think of one situation right now where you've been giving away your peace. And drop one word in the chat that captures what it's costing you. Maybe it's your energy. Maybe it's your sleep. Maybe it's your focus. For some of you, maybe it's clarity. For some of you, maybe it's your relationships, your business. Drop it in the chat, one word, and let it hit home. And the third one is the spirit gate. Guard your connection. Yeah, I see y'all dropping it in the chat, man. That's all important. Relationships, work, speeches, course, peace and sleep. I mean, it doesn't have to be like that. You control. You're in control of that. So the third gate is spiritual. Now, I know some people hear spirituality and they think it's religion. This isn't about religion, y'all. It's about relationship. It's a big difference. You could call it God, the universe, infinite intelligence, whatever name you choose, right? The current is the same though. That connection is where your clarity downloads come from. Protect that space because if you don't spend time tuning in, the world will tune you out. Your purpose will start to sound like it's static and you'll start chasing applause instead of alignment. Because without that connection to something greater than yourself, there is no purpose. You can't walk and live in your purpose without that. It's hollowness. All the money people make, and that'll be hollowness if you got no connection to something greater than you. Why do you think people end up taking their lives, jumping off the 52nd floor window when they're billionaires? Why do you think, people that were so famous ended up taking their life? Why? Because something's missing. I mean, think of the Michael Jacksons, the Elvis Presleys, the Marilyn Monroes, the Robin Williams. I mean, the list goes on and on. They had the world by the palm of their hands. They had it by the balls, and they took their life. Why? Because something's missing. It's that connection to something greater than themselves. It's that connection to what their real purpose is. Because all the money, all that other shit is hollow without that connection. The accolades, the awards, it don't matter. It don't go with you anyway. And listen, I've been broke and I've had a lot of money, and I'll take having money any day of the week. But man, money with being spiritually bankrupt, nah, you could keep that shit. I don't want it. Protect that space, man. Your purpose is guarded by that connection. The spirit gate must be protected daily through prayer, meditation, gratitude, reflection, or whatever it is that keeps you plugged into that higher frequency. For some of you, maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's walking and being in nature. Whatever it is. Realize you don't got to do it alone. The fourth gate is the environment gate. Guarding your space, y'all. So important. You can't plant purpose in polluted soil. I'm going to say that one more time, y'all. You can't plant purpose in polluted soil. Your space affects your state. If your car, your desk, your calendar looks like chaos, guess what? Your results will too. I treat my space like a sanctuary. Every morning, I say, God, protect my space. And I clean it up. And I make sure my day gets started like that. My workspace, they set my intentions before I open my phone. Because the environment you create, it either nurtures your discipline or it'll kill it. You can't talk about abundance while living under clutter. You can't preach peace while entertaining drama. The environment you build either supports your mission or it sabotages it. And it's on you to decide which one you're living in. The fifth gate is the circle gate, y'all. Guarding your people. Now, this is one of the most important gates because who you walk with will determine how far you rise. And this is where I had to learn the hard way. Because when I made the decision to go to rehab, I thought I was tough enough to do it alone, yeah. I said, I got this. I don't need nobody to lean on. I'm going to figure it out like I always do. But let me tell you something. Trying to fight demons in the dark by yourself? That's a battle you're not going to win. I remember waking up in that rehab, staring at the ceiling, feeling like the walls were closing in on me. I didn't want to share my story, my feeling, my shame, because asking for help, it felt like another loss, another hit to my ego. But the truth, my ego was the very thing keeping me in that vicious cycle. So I took the first healthy risk of my life, and I raised my hand. I walked into those rooms where men called each other out on their bullshit and wouldn't let me hide behind a perfect story. I listened to the dude who had 30 days sober. I listened to the guy who was in and out of rehab 10 years in a row. And I listened to every single story in between. And I borrowed their hope until I could find my own. And that's when I realized my network, it wasn't just support. It was survival. Fast forward, I get out of rehab. I start rebuilding my life, and I started chasing success again. I built my business back up, started stacking wins, and guess what happened? That old voice of the ego came creeping back. We all know that voice of the ego. We all got one of those. Y'all say you ain't got an ego. You full of shit, man. Come on. We all got an ego. Mine was talking about, you got this, homie. You don't need nobody. You done built multi-million-dollar business after multi-million-dollar business. You don't need nobody to tell you how to be successful. But I knew better this time. So I took another healthy risk. Stepping into rooms with a bunch of people making 10 times more than I was. Rooms where I wasn't the alpha. Rooms where I had to drop the ego and admit, I don't know everything. I'm here to learn. I didn't just show up for the business strategies. I showed up for the mindset, for the energy, for the stories. I started asking questions that made me sweat. I started having conversations that punch holes in my comfort zone. And that's when it hit me. My network is my net worth, not just in dollars, but in direction, in discipline, in destiny. I realized that taking those healthy risks, asking for help, getting uncomfortable, stepping into the unknown, that's what builds real wealth. Wealth of spirit, wealth of mind, wealth of impact. So if you're sitting there thinking you could outwork this world alone, you're already losing. Because your next level, it's locked behind a door called community. And the key, that's your willingness to be seen. I'm talking fully seen. I took that risk and it turned my pain into power, my story into service, and my network into a launch pad that I never even knew I needed. That's how I went from crawling alone to commanding rooms. That's how I built my true comeback. Something happens when you let your guard down and allow real support in. You strip away all the noise, all the distractions, and the masks, they come off. And what's left? It's the raw, unfiltered reason you're there in the first place. It's your why. So take those healthy risks. Surround yourself with people who elevate you and your game, not the people who drain your energy. Not everyone deserves a key to your gate. These are three kinds of people that are in every season. There's three of them. You got the protectors, right? These people are the anchors. They're the people who fortify you. They see your blind spots. They call you out on your bullshit. And they remind you of your values when you start drifting. They're not always comfortable to be around, but they're necessary. They protect your peace by holding you accountable to your potential. Protectors don't flatter you. They fortify you. They don't co-sign your excuses. They call you out on them. And then you got the propellers. These are your expanders, the people who stretch you. They challenge you to think bigger, take risks, and move you when you want to stay safe. They believe in your next version and refuse to let you settle for the current one. Sometimes they frustrate you because they see the crown that you're avoiding. They're frustrating you because you're growing, and growth is not supposed to be comfortable. Propellers don't let you park in potential. They push you into purpose. And then you got the parasites. I mean, these people drain the shit out of you. These are the ones who disguise dependency as loyalty. They love your light, but they don't contribute to it. They drain it. They feed off your energy, your time and peace, leaving you spiritually overdrafted. They'll make you feel guilty for growing because growth exposes their comfort. Parasites don't always look toxic. Sometimes they come wrapped in a familiar situation. But if they drain your energy, they don't deserve your access. You see, most people lose their focus because they confuse proximity with purpose. Just because someone was part of your past, it doesn't mean that they belong in your next chapter. You got to decide who gets the backstage pass to your piece. Protecting your gate means understanding that no is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone access just because they knew you before you knew yourself. If someone costs you your peace, they're too expensive. If someone drains your energy, they don't deserve your time. If someone mocks your growth, they can't sit at your table, man. And this isn't arrogance. It's about alignment. Boundaries aren't walls. They're filters. They keep the mission pure. Now, let's talk about the gate that nobody else sees, the one between your ears. You can cut people off and still be letting their voices echo in your head. You can lock the number, but not the narrative. That's why protecting the gate isn't just external, it's internal. You got to stop renting space to the same thoughts that nearly destroyed you. The next time shame knocks, ask yourself, who told me that? And the next time fear shows up, say, you don't get to lead here anymore. I'm in control. Fear's always going to show up, yeah? It's going to always be there. Fear's going to try to get into your driver's seat and steer the wheel of your life. But guess what? You're in control of the steering wheel, not fear. Tell fear, get the fuck in the back seat, man, because it's always going to be there. Respect that and tell him to get in the back seat. He don't belong in the front seat. Fear acts like a kid. Kids belong in the back seat, man. Fear doesn't have to lead. You lead because you're the gatekeeper, not your guilt, not your fear, not your past, not your trauma. So let's take inventory here and grab up that notebook and write down the 5 gates again: mind, heart, spirit, environment, and circle. And next to each one, write this question down: who or what have I allowed through this gate that doesn't belong? Who or what have I allowed through this gate that doesn't belong? And then ask yourself, what conversations, habits, or relationships need to be released so that you can protect your purpose? This is where transformation starts, not in adding more, but in subtracting the unnecessary. I'll give y'all a minute to journal that in. And so I could grab some water. So, repeat the question. I got you, Jackie. So the question is, who or what have you allowed through the gate that doesn't belong? And then ask yourself, what conversations, habits, or relationships need to be released so that you can protect your purpose? Now, I want you to say this with me and say it like you mean it. I am the gatekeeper of my greatness. My peace is my power. My circle is my strength, and my standards are my security. I choose alignment over approval and protection over performance. That's how you protect the gate. That's how you protect your destiny. When you choose alignment over approval and protection of your gate over performance, that's when the doors start opening. That's when the mountains start getting moved. My bad, Martin. We don't got to slide on that one, brother. I'll repeat it, though. I got you. So I'm the gatekeeper of my greatness. My peace is my power. My circle is my strength. My standards are my security. And I choose alignment over approval and protection over performance. Michelle, if you could drop that in the chat, or if somebody who wrote it down could drop that in the chat, that'd be great. That's how you protect the gate, though, young man. This is about your destiny, and you got to protect that destiny. Once your gates are protected, your vision gets clearer, your energy gets quieter, and your voice, the real one, it starts getting louder. And that's where the next code takes us, because protection without purpose, it just turns into isolation, yeah. You're forged through the fire. You commanded your kingdom. You protected your gate. Now it's time to wear the crown. Not out of ego, but out of conviction. And that's why the next one's crown with conviction. Now, there's one thing left here. You got to decide who you are when that crown is actually on. Because it's one thing to survive, but it's a whole nother to lead. And it's a whole different thing to lead with conviction. Not with ego, not with fear, with that unshakable inner knowing that you're walking in what you were built for. So if you're ready to wear that crown differently, type crown in the chat and let's see who's here to lead, not just to live, man. Type the word crown in the chat, yeah. Hype is loud when the room is full, man. Conviction is loud when the room is empty. And hype fades. Conviction, it anchors. Crowning with conviction means you stop renting your identity to other people's opinions. You stop waiting for permission to be who you know you were meant to be. And it means you know who you're walking with. You know who you're here to be. And you know why you're here. And you're done apologizing for the weight that's on your life. Be unapologetic for who you are and who you're meant to be. If you're done apologizing for your purpose, say it out loud. Say, I'm done shrinking. I'm done apologizing. Type unapologetic in the chat. After achieving sobriety, I was able to build another successful business in the financial industry. And even though I was crushing it and living this incredible life, something was still missing. And God kept nudging at me and pulling at me, telling me that my journey's not complete and that I had more to accomplish in life. And for years after getting sober, I kept asking God, man, how do I give this back to you? I can't give it back to you in a physical form. You don't exist physically. There's not enough thank yous in the world to express the amount of gratitude that I have for you saving my life. Not just the 2 times that I overdosed. What about all those times that I drove home and don't remember how I got home? And what about those times where I was in a hotel room where I should have ended up dead, but I walked out alive? Those aren't coincidences. Those are God incidences. And through this journey of personal development and sobriety, I learned the big difference between religion and spirituality. And I learned to build a relationship with my higher source that I call God. And I realized that believing something greater than myself to help me unlock my fullest potential is vital for my success. But I also realized that spirituality is about being able to sit with myself and connect with my thoughts and connect with God when he connects with me through different avenues of life. And as I kept asking that question of how do I give it back, that still voice got stronger and deeper. And God kept telling me, you know that story that you got inside you? The one that I saved your life for? That story don't belong to you. I didn't give you that story for you to hold it inside. I gave it to you so you go out there and create impact with it. You hold that story inside, you're just being selfish. I didn't create you to be selfish. And yo, that hit me like a ton of bricks, y'all. And that's when I said, enough's enough. I'm not going to argue with the man upstairs because I'm not going to win that battle. And that's when I decided to build my speaking and coaching platform, my Reforge Academy platform. But let me be real with y'all. That decision didn't come easy. It meant stepping away from the comfort of big checks and boardrooms. It meant putting trading in my power suits for raw vulnerability. It meant putting my scars on the line for the world to judge. You think I wanted to tell the world about the times that I overdosed and the times that I didn't want to get out of bed? Hell no. But that's what true surrender is. Like I said earlier, faith and fear can be looked at very similar. Something you can't touch, you can't feel, but you know it exists. But when you lean into your faith to overcome your fear, that's where the real freedom lives. And wow, has my intuition led me in the right direction as usual? Because helping people have that transformational moment to achieve ultimate fulfillment, that's where I was able to find my purpose. Fear presents the safest option. Faith presents the truest one. And that voice inside of you, whether you call it God, the universe, whatever it is, that voice inside of you, it knows when you're playing small. Maybe it's been nudging you toward the dream that you keep postponing. Maybe it's telling you that, you need to have a conversation that you've been avoiding. Or maybe, for some of you, maybe it's asking you to release something that you've been white knuckling for years. Crowned with conviction, it means you stop debating that voice and start obeying it. Drop one word in the chat. What's one thing that voice has been telling you and whispering to you that you've been ignoring? Amen, Carlos. Amen, brother. So, yes, peace, faith. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Spirit is in the room, sure. Conviction comes in layers. Who you are, why you're here, who's working with you, who's walking with you and working with you, right? And the first is like conviction in who you are. If you don't know who you are, you'll keep auditioning for roles that you were never meant to play. You're not your last mistake. You're not your worst decision. You're not your biggest loss. Your past doesn't define you. Those are chapters. Those are learning lessons, not the title of the book. Maybe it's time that you forgive the version of you that did what you had to do to survive. Maybe it's realizing that the hustle that once saved you isn't meant to drive you anymore. Or maybe it's owning that old you isn't gone. And you just outgrew the cage. So write down where in your life have you been trying to prove instead of walk in peace. Could proving be, could be proving something that to a parent who never saw you. Could be proving something to a spouse. Could be trying to outperform your past. Could be chasing validation instead of a vision. The second one is conviction in why you're here. Everybody wants to feel chosen, but few want the responsibility that comes with it. If it was easy to walk in your path, to walk in your purpose, to walk that chosen life, everybody would be doing it. He would have chose everybody. Your why isn't just what you want to achieve. It's who suffers when you stay in silence. Maybe it's your kids watching how you lead. Maybe it's your team counting out your legacy. Or maybe it's that one person waiting to hear your story so that they know that they're not alone. Conviction in your why, it sounds like this. I'm not doing this just for me. I'm doing this for everybody that's assigned to my life. It's knowing that your purpose is bigger than you. And the third one, conviction in who's walking with you. If you think you carried yourself through everything, that you survived, you're missing the bigger picture, y'all. Some of you know that you shouldn't even be here right now. Yet, you're here. You're in this room. You're alive. That's not a coincidence. That's a God incident. That's a miracle. That's grace. Call it alignment, source. It don't matter. No matter what, it's grace. Conviction here is remembering you're not doing this alone. And maybe that's the reminder that you needed tonight, that you're supported, you're not stranded. If you know you've been carried by grace, whatever name you give it, just type grace in the chat. If you know that you're not here accidentally, that there's more inside of you. Now, with your journal, your notebook, your piece of paper, your napkin, whatever you're writing on, at the top of the page, write crown with conviction. And this is a fresh piece of paper, fresh napkin. No napkins with boogers on them, y'all. And answer these three questions. Where have I been shrinking to make others comfortable? Michelle, type these in the chat as I say them in case people fall behind on it. I mean, it could be in your relationships, your business, your circle. So where in your life have you been shrinking to make others comfortable? And then the second one is, what calling or dream have I delayed because I don't feel ready? Starting something new, speaking your truth. And then who would benefit or finally breathe if I walked away in that calling fully? I'll give you 30 seconds to write those answers in, and then look at the answers and drop one word in the chat. What emotion came up for you while writing that? Yeah, shame. Shame's a big one, man. Peace is good. Shame is honesty, Carlos. That's what it's about, brother. Feel that. Mm. And that right there is conviction starting to speak into your life. Living crown versus just wearing it. I mean, some people wear the crown for the photo. They love the image, but not the integrity piece. Living crown means your private life matches your platform. It's how you treat people when no one's recording. It's how you act when no one's clapping. Conviction, it doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means that fear doesn't get the final vote in your life. The crown is not a costume, it's a commitment. Type it like you mean it. This isn't theory, this is lifestyle. This is not theory, it's lifestyle, y'all. Conviction isn't control. It's not saying I've got it all figured out. It's saying I'm willing to take that next step, even if I can't see the staircase. Sometimes obedience looks like letting go of what once worked. Sometimes it's stepping into rooms where you feel underqualified. Sometimes it's telling the truth when it'd be easier to hide. Your crown gets heavier every single time you ignore that nudge. Lighten it by moving when you're cold. What's one next step that you need to take, even if your legs are shaking? Type just the first word that comes to mind in the chat. One step that you need to take. Yeah, Jeff, playing small seems safe, but it's living in a cage life, man. Speaking up is huge. I see you, Jennifer. Yeah, y'all are talking that language, man. Confidence. Yes, 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 Amanda. It's real. And man, because nothing happens in the comfort zone, yeah. There's no magic there. All the magic happens when you step out of your comfort zone. That's where the growth happens. When you stay comfortable, you're shrinking. There's nothing there for you. Now remember, you're not your past. You're not your pain. You're not your patterns. Your purpose in motion. Wear the crown with conviction. Move with faith, not fear. Walk with God, source, the universe. Walk in alignment with whatever it is you call it, whatever it is you believe. And live for something bigger than you. Your purpose is bigger than you. If you feel me on that, man, type I'm reforged in the chat, man. Let me see that I'm reforged in the chat. That's right. There's no magic in that comfort zone, man. That's right. I see reforged, man. Yes, yes. I love it. All right. And now this is the final code, man. It's code number 5. It's about building the empire. Because if we stop here, you walk out maybe inspired, but conviction without construction, it changes nothing. So the 5th and final code takes everything we've reforged. The fire you survived, the kingdom you're commanding, the gates you're guarding, the crown you're wearing, and it turns it into impact, income, and legacy. This is where conviction becomes creation. When I first stepped into this game, speaking, coaching, building a movement, I'll be honest with y'all, there was plenty of nights where I almost closed my laptop, walked away, and said, fuck this. See, after I rebuilt my life, got sober, got successful again in the financial industry, I thought purpose would feel easy. But when I launched this next chapter, stepping into full alignment, telling my story, building systems, funnels, learning online marketing, content, lead generation, shit, man, it felt like I was trying to learn a new language. There were nights I sat in front of the laptop staring at the screen thinking like, damn, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I should just go back to what I know, go back to the boardrooms, the big checks, the easy closes. Because back there, I didn't have to be vulnerable. I didn't have to talk about overdoses. I didn't have to open wounds I buried for years. I could just smile, dial, and stack cash because that's what I was great at. But every time I tried to walk away, Something bigger pulled me back in. Purpose doesn't whisper, it tugs. And every time I pray, I hear the same voice. And God would tell me, Joe, I didn't save your life to play small. I didn't bring you back for comfort. I brought you back for impact. So I stayed in the fire. I learned. I failed. I built again. I became a student all over again. Marketing, leadership, humility. I'm still a student of the game. I don't just talk this talk. I walk the walk. I hit up events every week, every month. Events that I'm attending, not just the ones I'm speaking at. I take in the energy. I take in the information. Repetition is the mother of skill. And there were months where I spoke to empty rooms, days where the algorithm felt like it hated me, mornings where I questioned whether this mission was even worth it, man. But you know what I learned? That's where empires are forged. Not when everything works, but when nothing does. And you keep showing up anyway. That's where empires are forged. Not when everything works, but when nothing does. And you keep showing up anyway. No matter what. I'm repeating that because that's vital for y'all, man. It's what you do in the dark that shows up in the light. Because the moment you stop chasing validation and you start chasing alignment, everything shifts. So where in your life have you been trying to build an empire, but you've been doing it from exhaustion instead of alignment? Say that one more time. Where in your life have you been trying to build an empire, but you've been doing it from exhaustion instead of alignment? Maybe for some of you, it's your business. You've been running the same cycle, chasing more without knowing. Maybe for some of you, it's in your relationships. You've been given from an empty cup, hoping somebody else fills it. Ain't nobody else gonna fill that cup for you, man. You gotta fill that cup. And maybe for some of you, it's your health or your spirit. You've been grinding so hard, you forgot who you're grinding for. Write down where you've been forcing instead of flowing. Because that's the moment the real empire starts. When you stop fighting the current and start moving with it. When I finally surrendered and said, God, I'm done fighting this. Show me what's next. And I started to let go and let God, man, that's when things started clicking. Doors opened that I didn't even know I knocked on. Clients came in that I didn't even chase. Opportunities showed up that I couldn't even plan. And it wasn't because I worked harder. It was because I worked higher. I stopped leading from ego and I started leading from obedience. And that's how my Reforge Academy platform was born. Not as a business, but as an assignment. And that's how every empire should be built, from obedience, not overexertion. That overexertion is just going to burn you out. So what assignment have you been avoiding because it doesn't look easy? Maybe it's launching that business. Maybe for some of you, it's forgiving somebody that hurt you. Maybe it's finally taking your power back and admitting, I'm not fine, but I'm ready. Whatever it is, write it down, because that's the seed of your empire. And you can't build something that big while pretending to be someone that small. Now, before we close this out, I want you to picture a day, your day, right now. You wake up already tired. You grab your phone before you grab your piece. You scroll, you compare, you numb out. You rush through your morning. Maybe you pray, maybe you don't, but you're definitely distracted. And you tell yourself, I'll focus tomorrow. But tomorrow keeps coming back, becoming next week. Next week becomes next year. And that's how legacies die. Not with a crash, but with a quiet delay. Now, close your eyes for a minute and picture a new day. A day where you wake up grounded, before the world grabs you, you grab your focus, you breathe, you pray, you remember who you are. You're not checking notifications. You're checking that alignment. You move with rhythm, not reaction. You pour into your family and your mission, not from guilt, but from overflow. You move through your day with peace and precision. And when your head hits that pillow that night, you're not wondering if you did enough. You're proud of who you're becoming. That's the new day. That's the life that's waiting for you on the other side of your decision. Now, I want you to breathe. You could open up your eyes. And what I'm about to say is not about hype. It's about truth. There are moments in your life where God cracks time open and gives you a shot to step out of your identity that you've been dragging behind you and into the ones that have been calling your name for years. And when those windows open, you either step through them or you stay stuck in the same cycle with a new excuse. And what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Let me tell you why the month of February matters. January is full of talk. New year, new me. Bullshit. New goals, new energy, new promises. February is where truth shows up, though. Because now the hype is gone. The hype of the new year, new you is over. It don't exist no more. And it's where you left in your real identity, your real habits, your real standards, your real follow through. February is the month where most people quietly go back to who they've been. And they don't even call it quitting. They say, oh, this is just life. But if you're still here right now, it means you're not here to repeat a pattern. You're here to interrupt it. This is your window, y'all. Not when you feel ready, not when life calms down, not when you feel more confident, right now. This exact moment is where your comeback becomes a choice instead of a hope. Before I tell you what's next, I need you to lock in 5 truths. Because if these truths land, your next move becomes simple. The first truth is you're not confused. You're avoiding a decision that you already see. Let's kill the lie first, y'all. You're not unclear. You're not lost. You're not missing information. If I ask you right now what needs to change, you could probably answer that. What you're wrestling with, it ain't clarity. It's the cost of committing to what you already know. Confusion is comfortable. And a lot of people stay confused because it gives them permission to delay. The second truth, momentum, it doesn't come later. It comes from choosing under pressure. Momentum doesn't show up after you feel ready. It shows up after you move when it's uncomfortable. This is what separates leaders from spectators. Pressure isn't a warning sign. It's the moment that your future asks, are you real? Or are you just inspired? The third truth is the version of you that keeps delaying, not your higher self. It's a survival identity. This one's going to hit some of you in the chest. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not weak. You've been operating from a survival identity that once protected you. Where are you leaning into from now? An identity that learned how to wait, how to postpone, how to stay functional instead of fulfilled. But that version of you can't build the life that you keep praying for. It can't build the life that you were created to live. And here's the truth. You can't activate yourself from the inside if that same identity delays. It's impossible. It's not spiritually aligned. And that's why this moment feels heavy, because something in you knows the old way, it's expired. But that old way, it can't exist where you're going. That old you has to get buried. The fourth truth is clarity without direction. That's just another form of distraction, y'all. You could feel fired up today and still wake up tomorrow and drift, because clarity, it doesn't move your feet. Direction does. And without direction, insight turns into overthinking. And overthinking, it turns into delay dressed up as intelligence. A lot of people don't lack knowledge. They lack a real plan and a real container to execute. And the fifth truth, people who act when it's uncomfortable become people who trust themselves, become real leaders, become high achievers. Self-trust isn't built in perfect conditions. It's built in moments like this. Every time you hesitate, you teach your nervous system not to believe you. Every time you move when it matters, you rebuild trust with yourself. This isn't about buying anything. This is about who you decide to be after today. So if tonight opened up something in you, if you felt that pull, that shift, that reminder of who you really are, then this next part is for you, y'all. So before we wrap this up, I want to speak directly to the people who felt something wake up today. The ones who know they cannot keep living in that same confusion, the same habits, the same version of themselves that they've been tolerating. Everything we did today was designed to open a door. But walking through that door, it requires direction and a real comeback plan. So here's what I'm doing. I'm opening up a few limited number of my complimentary Reforge activation calls. These are not sales calls. They're not clarity calls. This is a wake-up call. You and I get onto a phone, one-on-one, and we'll build your personal comeback blueprint. On this call, we're going to identify the patterns that have been holding you back, lock in your purpose target. We'll map out the first step of your comeback plan and reconnect with the version of you that's been trying to rise for a long time. I don't offer these often. I rarely open them up for free. But because you showed up today, because you invested your time, your energy, your presence, I'm giving you access. And here's what I'm doing for the people who booked their call today. I'm gifting you my Crown Undenied Starter Course. It's normally $97, but as a bonus to help you start strong immediately, I'm gifting the course. Why? Because I want you entering that call already activated, already building momentum, already stepping into the identity you touched today. So here's what I want you to do right now. If you're ready to stop negotiating with what you already know, if you're ready to step into the next season with clarity, conviction, and a comeback plan that actually sticks, type the word call in the chat right now. And let me see who's ready to get there, who's ready to really start moving their life to the next level. Type the word call in the chat if you're ready to make that move. And as this starts filling up, let's get it going, y'all. Because I see ya. Yes, type the word call in the chat. If you feel that pull, this is you declaring the comeback starts now. All right. Michelle, drop that link in the chat for everybody who's writing the word call so they can click on, pick their time that works best for them. Click the link, y'all. Book your call. If something in you is saying, this is my moment, listen to it. Don't ignore the calling, man. You've been ignoring it for way too long. You deserve this. You deserve to walk and live in your purpose. You deserve for that next level in your life. This is the time to level up. That window of opportunity doesn't stay open forever. Don't look back and say, man, I wish I would have made a change back then on February 16th and made a decision in my life to move forward. Your future doesn't change accidentally. It changes intentionally. These activation calls, they're limited. Once the calendar fills, that's it. Don't hesitate. Don't negotiate with your future self. Book the call. Claim your bonus course and start moving with clarity and power. Last call, the link is in the chat. Michelle dropped it already, and I can't wait to see y'all on the call. And I can't wait to help you on this journey of taking your life to the next level, man. You deserve greatness. You deserve to be what you were meant to be and what you're called to be. Your purpose is bigger than you, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the workshop. Everybody stay productive, stay purposeful, and stay blessed. Michelle's going to stay on in case anybody needs that link for a little bit longer. Everybody have a great week and kick some ass this week, man. Kick some ass. No, thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming through. I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all, man. I can't be doing what I'm doing without all of you. So I'm very super grateful for everybody in the room, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah, LFG. Let's fucking go, Jackie. Let's go. All right, y'all. Have a good one.